Many first-time gun owners are talked into buying a lot of stuff that they don't necessarily need. And that upsets me because they're being taken advantage of. I used to sell cameras, and we used to sell the cameras at a low price because we'd make it up on selling, tripods, gear bags, all the accessories that may or may not be what the person who bought the camera needed. So gun salesmen can be the same way. They're not necessarily interested in your best interest. So one of those things that they may talk you into is a cleaning kit. And cleaning kits can be pretty expensive. A low-end one's going to cost you $15, $20, and they can go up $30, $40, $50. I've seen them, deluxe kits going, for over $100. And it's just not necessary. So I'm going to show you some things that you do need that you can probably find laying around the home. You don't even need to buy. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we're going to clean my Glock 26. Even though it doesn't really need it, I cleaned it last year. That's good enough. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to unload it. And you've all heard of people that have had an accidental shooting. So I was cleaning my gun, it went off, and I shot myself in the leg, or I shot my dog, or I shot my daughter, or whatever. So we're going to verify that the gun's empty, and even though it's empty, we're still going to treat it like it's a loaded gun. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the ammunition supply, the gas tank, put that to the side. We still have a round in the chamber. We're going to get rid of that. We are not going to try to catch it by cupping it in our hands, because that could lead to a kaboom if you're not careful, by forcefully driving the primer against the the ejector. So we're just going to keep our hand clear of the ejection port and let it go on the ground. All right, now I like to lock the slide bag and look visibly and physically to make sure there's no magazine and that there's nothing in the chamber. And I like to do it twice because sometimes I can get fooled. Nothing in the magazine, nothing in the chamber. Now, there's any number of people with holes in their hands, and there's any number of holes in police academy cleaning rooms, because to take apart a Glock, you have to pull the trigger. Remember, I've just cleared this. There's no rounds in it, but Rule 1 says treat all guns as if they're loaded. So even though it's empty, and I'm 100% sure it's empty, I'm still going to point the gun in a safe direction. Doesn't hurt to check again, and pull the trigger. Now, with the trigger back, I can pull the slide lock down once I pull the slide back a little bit to release the tension on that. And now the slide comes forward. I pull the recoil spring out, the barrel, and now I have the basic component parts of the pistol. That's as far apart as I need to take the gun for most cleaning. So what do we need to clean the gun? The first thing we're going to need is some sort of solvent to loosen up the dirt. And there's any number of fancy high-tech gun cleaning oils out there, or solvents, and they really aren't necessary for the average shooter. Now, if you're doing high precision rifle shooting, that may be a different thing. But for the average person, it's just not needed. You may hear the term CLP, that stands for Clean, Lubricate, and Protect. It's a one-and-all thing, so this one item cleans the gun, it lubricates it, and protects it. There's nothing wrong with it, it works. I just don't think it's necessary. For solvents, I've used, I like isopropyl alcohol. You can buy a pint for 79 cents at CVS or Walgreens, and you can be liberal with it, not worry about it. You spill a little bit of it, not a big deal. It evaporates. You're not going to get your wife angry because you spilled some isopropyl on the kitchen table. Now, I won't say that if you get some dirt in the isopropyl that it won't make a mess, but isopropyl by itself is very clean. You can use your gun cleaning oil as a solvent. Oil is a solvent. This was given to me at a ILFE conference that I taught at last year. I would never have purchased this. It's not that it's bad, I just won't spend the money on it. For lubrication, I used Mobil 1. All right, so we need to loosen up the dirt. So we're going to put our lubricant, our solvent on the dirty parts of the gun. The other thing we need is some sort of brush. And those of you that were in the military may recognize this as a M16 cleaning brush. It's got a single row of bristles on one side and 3 rows on the other side. Nice piece of kit. You can buy them cheap. It's not necessary. Your toothbrush is fine, and you know you should be changing out your toothbrush a couple times a year anyway. So you should have a constant supply of toothbrushes for your cleaning kit. Once we have our solvent working, just go ahead and brush to loosen up the dirt. If you need a little bit more solvent, go ahead and put it on. At this point, we now have a gun that has loosened dirt in solvent, so we need to get rid of that. And just a cotton cloth is all you need. This was an old pillowcase that started wearing thin. T-shirts, socks, anything. I like cotton because it's a good and absorbent. And you should have plenty of that laying around the house too. So don't need to buy fancy patches or anything like that. So that's going to clean most of the gun for you. You may want to clean the barrel. Now, I don't know how necessary that really is for the average person shooting average bullets. Now, if you're shooting lead bullets and you've got a rifled barrel, you're going to get a lead buildup, and at that point things are a little bit different. You're going to have to get that lead out every so often. But if you're shooting jacketed bullets, it's going to take a long time to build up enough dirt in there, enough copper for it to really affect the average shooter. I do like to clean the feed ramp, because that's an important part where the bullet's coming out of the magazine and going up into the chamber. Once again, just use your solvent, use your brush, clean those off. Once you've done that, you may decide, all right, I want to clean the barrel. A simple way of doing that is just take small pieces of cloth and put your solvent on there and run it through the barrel with something. Now, you always want to go through the back if you can. The front of the barrel, where the muzzle is, has what's called a crown. It's a curved point that protects the rifling. It kind of inlets the rifling so it can't be dinged up by accident. And if you run a rod into the front of the muzzle, you can ding that up, and that can affect your accuracy. So if at all possible, if the gun allows it, you want to clean from the back. So just push the cloth through until it comes through clean. If it's too loose, just double it up or quadruple it up until it's tight to push through. And look at it and see. Keep doing that until it looks clean in there. I like to clean the locking surfaces if your gun has them. So where this cams up and down to lock into the gun, good idea for that to be cleaned. And that's pretty much it. So, what do I have? I've got a brush, I've got a solvent, I've got some cloth, and I've got a rod. A piece of dowel from, the Home Depot will be fine. And that's going to cover the vast majority of your cleaning needs. Now, it's not a bad idea to have Q-tips, and these are specialty gun cleaning Q-tips. I would never have bought these. Somebody gave them to me, and they're nice to get into the nooks and crannies. But hell, if I wanted that, I'm just going to steal them from my wife's makeup counter. So there's no reason to purchase that. And you just see it snapped off, and really, that's as effective as anything. I can put the cloth on there and drag that in the same place as I drag the Q-tip. So do I really need to buy the Q-tip? Some people like pipe cleaners, and I'll tell you, I use them occasionally for really tight areas like the striker channel. It's hard to get in and out of, so that's good for that. But you can buy a box of those from the tobacco store for 99 cents. It's a lifetime supply. And the other thing that I do recommend, depending on where you live, is green scrubby. This is just the kitchen scrubby. I'm in the tropics, and occasionally I'll get surface rust on my gun, so this is plenty to take that off. Do not use steel wool, because the steel from the steel wool, little particles of it will get in the microscopic pores of your pistol and rust, and it'll make things worse. So never use steel wool on your pistols unless you're doing something fancy like stainless steel wool, which you can get, but don't use regular steel wool. And this green scrubby you can buy anywhere for 99 cents, and it works fine. So the only other thing you might want to get, if you think you need to clean your barrel out better, like let's say you're shooting lead bullets a lot and there's a buildup or that sort of thing, you may need an actual cleaning rod. This one's made by Winchester. There's a few other ones like this. It's got the brush to clean, to loosen up the particles in there. It gives you a couple different calibers. So I got 9mm and 22 here, and a couple different rods, and an eye for holding cloth patches. So, that's not a bad thing to have, but it's not strictly necessary. I think you can get by without that, unless you're doing, like I said, shooting lead bullets or really need to get, copper fouling out of your barrel, which most people won't need to. So basically that's it. You need a solvent to loosen up the grime. You'll need something to absorb it and get rid of it. If you have dust off laying around, the canned air, that can be good also. I like, lubricate or liberally pouring rubbing alcohol in the gun and then shooting it out with the dust off, but only if I have it around anyway. I'm not going to purchase that purposely because I just don't think it's necessary. Now to lubricate the gun, most people will over lubricate the gun. You only need it on the bearing surfaces. So, and you don't need to go nuts and buy a particular gun oil. Like I said, I used Mobil 1. It's meant for high temperature reciprocating parts. Sounds similar to a gun to me. So usually I'll just get a bottle and put Mobil 1 in it that, when I change my oil, and I'm good to go. You just want a bare drop on the bearing surfaces, and then you're good to go. So once again, you don't need to make a big production out of this. You don't need to spend a lot of money on your cleaning kit. Most of the things you need will be at home, or you can get at the store for just a few dollars each. I'm Peter Burlingame of the Self-Defense Initiative. Thanks for watching. Please be safe out there. Please subscribe and tell your friends about us. Thanks.